It's our biggest company, but Fonterra's dairy payout this year is forecast to wipe $7 billion from our economy. That's why it's our biggest company. In fact, 45% of farmers are expected to make a loss this year. It has them questioning whether Fonterra is paying its executives too much and if it can be better run. Fonterra itself is doing an assessment of its structure to see if it can cut costs and improve its efficiency. Professor of Agribusiness Jacqueline Rowarth joins me now. Jacqueline, thank you very much for your time this morning. So Fonterra have decided to involve themselves in, if you like, this self-performance test. They've even got a name for it, velocity. Is that because they suspect they're not doing a very good job?
They're reacting to a lot of farmer murmurings, discontent and general statements in the press and through, in fact, all the media, that the farmers are deeply discontented. And of course, a payout that doesn't cover costs would discontent anybody. Everybody's upset. And the $7 billion that's gone from the economy is in comparison with last year. So it's money that hadn't come in, it just won't ever come in now at this payout. And of course farmers are upset. And of course they're saying, if we're making a loss, how come you're still on big salaries?
Is it a mistake to assume, just because this is such a giant of a company with such a phenomenal foothold in this country and around the world, that it's run well? Is it possible that it's actually run very badly?
There are concerns that actually it's acting as a corporate when it's fundamentally a farmer-owned cooperative. And the size of Fonterra, it's got bigger and bigger in terms of its footprint across the world, with its activities in China, South America, and indeed America and Australia, that the company is not keeping a grasp on everything that's happening. And that's part of the velocity aspect. There are so many layers within Fonterra that speed of decision making hasn't been as fast as necessary. And we've heard Jacqueline Chow actually saying they need to be looking at the structure within Fonterra, but actually farmers are saying, what about their fundamental structure in terms of being a milk supply and processing arm, but also this branding and marketing? Perhaps that's too big, and maybe that's where McKinsey should be focused in terms of thinking about where Fonterra could do a better job.
Are they actually trying to do too much? Because they are, to a degree, trying to be all things to the entire industry, aren't they?
Yes, and noted academics like Professor Keith Woodford from Lincoln University have been saying for some time, actually it would be much more functionally operational if we had the milk supply and processing arm and then separate it from the marketing and branding arm. But then the question would be asked, given that farmers have actually funded the marketing and branding, if you pulled out of there, how would they be compensated for the amount of money they've invested? Never forget that the average farmer has about $1 million invested in Fonterra through shares. That's a lot of money that they're not using themselves.
Yeah. We're talking, what, 17 Fonterra staff are earning over $1 million a year, whilst at the same time 45% of their farmers are going to be making a loss. I mean, that is very hard to justify, isn't it?
The big problem, I think, for the farmers is that they understand there are swings and roundabouts. We go through agricultural cycles. But Fonterra in December last year said, actually, we have very little control over the milk price. Now, if that's true, they shouldn't be acting on corporate salaries. They should be looking at the cooperative structure, more like Tata and Westland, for instance, where we're all acting together as a cooperative and we share the benefits and we share the losses. And that's not what's happening in Fonterra at the moment.
Well, Jacqueline, obviously people will have a very close look at the results that come out of this internal performance assessment that they're running, but obviously we will only see the results that they're happy for us to see, won't we?
Yes, and we've been told that there will be results at the AGM in November. Farmers have said for many years that we don't know what's happening within Fonterra. It's a bit transparent. It's Fortress Fonterra has been used by the media. We were promised it was going to change, and farmers would like to see that come true.
Well, the spotlight is on them, and when more than half of your shareholders are losing money, you've got to do something, haven't you, Jacqueline? Thank you so much for joining us. We'll talk again. Jacqueline Rowarth, Professor of Agribusiness at Waikato University.